Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to another I Heart Geek episode. This is part 2 of the Sandman. This is called the Deep Character Study. We're not going to hit everything in Sandman, but we're going to hit a lot of what we get in the TV series. Again, we're going to be saying a lot of things that we don't like about things. It's not political. It's because we don't like things for whatever reason. Shut up. Love y'all. We love the series. If you haven't listened to episode 1 of the Sandman, go back and listen to that first, because I don't think we're going to make any sense if we're just going through characters here.
You never make sense, Sub. It's okay.
Keep on geeking on. I am here with my fantastic and beautiful panelists. We have Todd, we have Ryan, we have Skeeter, we have Satomi. Woo! It's a party going on. Can you tell it's been a long night? Okay. So what we're doing today, I think I've gotten most of the major characters here. There's a couple I know I'm missing, but and we're going to talk about what that character means to us, and did they do good on the show versus the series, and what would you have changed, and so on and so forth. So let's start with the granddaddy of all, the Sandman himself, Dream, or Morpheus. First thing is my biggest issue. First off, is the makeup. He's not white enough. He needs to that Robert Smith from The Cure, that cake white paint with the ultra black eyeliner. That's I feel like that was missing. I think the stature was good.
The hair was on point.
The hair was on. Maybe he could have been a little bit more arrogant.
I never got arrogance from Morpheus. What I
always do
is
I rarely get
overbearing. Different.
Yeah. So so let's talk about this character and what we like and don't like. This is the most important character in Sandman. Without this one, there is no other.
So, are we talking about the guy in the show?
No, well, you can throw in that. It's anything having to do with Morpheus right now.
Okay.
Now, I think that you should not be sympathizing with Dream. There's
really?
I think there's points that you do, but I think that he has set himself so far different from he's kind of sickened by humanity. You shouldn't be sympathetic for him, because he pretty much deserves everything he gets. My own opinion. Oh wow, people look like they're about to throw stones at
I'm
me.
going to disagree with you because, well, mainly because if we don't, then why the hell are we watching the rest of this show?
Okay, that's a fair point.
Or at least it's kind of like Dexter, where it's like we're still kind of liking him. Yeah. You know,
you can like him, but you still got to know he's a butthole.
I don't think he's a.
What he does to Neswarda, you're going to tell me that he's not a butthole? He put her in hell for 1,000 years because she didn't want to marry him. He's not a good person.
Ryan was just like,
up guitar.
Oh.
getting late over here.
No, I mean, he's problematic. He's the anti-hero. He's detached. He has lessons to learn. And we certainly could have had more lessons that they could have played that up a little bit more. So, I mean, I see your point to a point.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that hard line. I said it more to make the point of he's not good.
But he's also not bad. I think that's the point of the Eternals.
Morality, yeah.
The man reminds me of a lead singer of any rock and roll band I've ever been associated with. He's good looking, vacuous,
You've been in bands with me,
and needs a lot of lessons on life.
That he has kind of an infantile policy on life. It's his way. He's selfish.
Dub, he has no concept of mortality.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, actually, don't you think all the endless are really childlike? No, they're not childlike. They're childish. All of the endless seem, except for death.
Well, fate isn't, and neither is destruction. But we don't learn about them till later, like way later.
Death was there before anything, and will be there to turn the lights out.
She's the eldest sister.
Death light to that, but the rest of them are ultra powerful kids.
That's a good way of looking at it.
And they're also the 7 distinct aspects of the human psyche.
Actually, you know what? We're gonna hit a few of them individually, but let's talk about who are the endless real quick. There's 7 of them. There is Dream, Destiny, who you don't get to meet in the series yet, Death, Despair, Desire. What's the other 2 I'm missing? Destruction, which you don't meet.
Delirium.
And Delirium, who that is got to be. I've got to meet Delirium in a TV series because oh my gosh, I love this character. So.
They better do it right, or else it's going to suck.
Yeah, but we'll get into some of these characters later. But so what they are is basically the I think Neil Gaiman set them up as they are the building blocks of humanity. Without them, humanity doesn't exist.
Aspect of the human psyche.
Yeah,
it's essentially a really effed up version of Disney's Inside Out.
Pretty much.
Oh wow! And that was a show. Thank you, Satomi. He just broke us.
Fire for hair.
And like Cain and Abel or Bing Bong.
We'll get into Cain and Abel. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, you should bring that up, Satomi. May I, Dub?
Go ahead.
Cain and Abel?
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, let's just jump onto the Cain and Abel right now.
2 predominant aspects of the human condition: fight and flight. That's all.
Now, I don't know if I like the TV version of them. If they felt
the TV version of them.
They were watered down.
Because I mean, Cain feels so much more evil in the books, and Abel just feels like
Neither one of them.
It's hard.
George.
It's hard.
One is submissive and the other is oppressive. That's all there is about it. No good or evil there.
Honestly, they reminded me a little bit of the ants in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the newer one.
Very much so, and they were supposed to represent that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were George and Lenny. I mean, except for one died all the time.
Yeah, I don't know how good of a job I would say that they did with the killing him and bringing him back constantly. I don't know that I bought it on the TV series like I did in the novel.
No, in the book they just make it. They do such a good job of making him seem. They make Abel seem
So
like
sympathetic,
every time he dies, he comes back more mentally inept than he was before. But through that makes Cain way more evil, like in feeling like he's not all there now, and you just keep doing it to make it worse. It's an abusive relationship. Is really what exactly
yeah.
That's
all.
Well,
I mean, again, they're dealing with the limitations of television. Is I mean, it's very possible that they have all of that in the can digitally on the floor somewhere because there just isn't time.
Yeah. I didn't like the elf ears, to be honest. I don't know why. They bothered me.
You didn't like the what?
The elf ears.
I noticed them.
Oh.
I don't
pick up on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that's just something that's like, why? Because they are trying to build from a story that is
it's a biblical parable, dude. They weren't elves.
They weren't elves. It was human, and that's something that I don't know if that was something that I feel is little things bother me on this. As I say, this is the greatest book ever written. I'm gonna nitpick. I don't know why the ears bothered me, but they bothered me.
It dissipated the story.
This is where it took me off the rails as a new guy, as just learning all of this. Like, I mean, the first question I asked Dub, like, where did this come from? But like, this threw me for completely sideways. I'm all, why are Cain and Abel here? What is happening right now? Like, is this biblical all of a sudden? Like, I just was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But that was the difference. I hadn't started the audiobooks yet, but I was watching the show, so I had like literally I was gone.
But I will say this, Gregory, when Morpheus took Gregory, that was a lot more heart-wrenching on the TV series than it was in the books.
It was
way more.
Yeah.
That was a dagger to the heart, man.
Right.
Just a good, lovable character. Ouch.
And then
They animated him beautifully.
Right. In the book, it was just, part of like what had to be done.
Yeah.
So like they just kind of brushed it off.
It's like we're gonna have to, if you want burgers, we're gonna have to kill the cow.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it felt like in the books. It felt like there's like you saw their hearts being ripped out. And I think they did a fantastic job on that.
Plus the fact that Gregory, when he understood what the situation was, went willingly.
With pride, yeah.
Out. Owie.
Mm-hmm.
Don't cry, Satomi.
Ryan, I'm just having a memory.
Right. In the
breaking.
Yeah, in the audiobook, the way they present it is there's more emotion behind the name than anything about Gregory at all. It's just an argument about the name.
Yeah. Okay.
I did, however, appreciate the fact that in the show, Morpheus kept the egg and gave it to Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
That was all right.
Instead of the because the gift thing never made sense when Cain gave that to Abel. That didn't make any sense to me. That cleared up something that made it a little better. So I can't completely hate on these characters because they did some good stuff with it. Okay, now let's move on to Death. This is the one where people online want to kick me in the head and call me all sorts of names. Okay, here's the deal. Death is the most important character in this. This is the character that I fall in love with. This is the only character that I had issue with the race swap. And it shouldn't have been a white girl either. It should have been a Japanese girl. Because that's what the look is. Because of how iconic Death is, that it took me out a lot. I know that people can have their opinions or whatever. It took me completely out because I love this character so much. And I want this iconic face to be staring at me. Now, the other issue I have with the show, she was 100% empathy. If you read the books or the audiobooks, she is 30% empathy, 70% joy, delight, and frivolity. You don't have any of that, so it's not like people are happy to take her hand. There's like, she understands as she takes their hand. If that makes sense, I didn't like how that was played. Is she a beautiful girl that played her? Yes. I don't think that was one of those, that's a wrong choice because of how iconic she is. So Death in general. Yeah, I know we all have thoughts on this one. Let's start with Skeeter because you haven't talked much on. What's your thoughts on Death?
So Death in the show, I think how she was like, for all of who she took, was like one of those things where it was a walk. It was, no, I need to say goodbye. It's not that time yet. No. Well, I'm sorry, you got to go. We have to go. Let's go. And took their hand. The book, Kat Dennings.
Kat Dennings, yeah.
Denning, her voice made that character.
It made me want to go with her. Yeah.
Everything you just said. And it was like, wow, I could totally go with this person. Like, I'm just going to take her hand because she was just so well spoken. She played the role perfectly in both the show and the book. I loved it.
Tell me.
So for me, she could have been any color. However, I think what you guys are hitting on so far is it's the energy.
Yeah.
And it's true that her energy was very peaceful. We're coming here, and it was missing that spark, that fun, that sort of,
We're going on an adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have, even if they had gone with this gal, and I'm so sorry, I want to look up her name because I want to be respectful of my fellow actresses, and I'm blanking on her name. And why isn't it in my IMDb right away? Can anybody help me out?
Working on it.
We're all looking right now.
Okay, so bring it up for me, because she should be right at the front, and she's not. But even in her clothing, they made her very neutral, and I would have liked to have seen her clothing more spunky and funky and punky and other things that rhyme with unky.
Isn't she?
Kirby Howell Baptiste?
Oh, yes.
How is she not on the first page? Oh.
I know,
she's like
crazy, right?
I was scrolling for a bit.
Yeah. It's like, why isn't she right at the top? There you go. Oh, that's probably
she's
why.
the top of the one episode actress.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha. So say her name again, please.
Kirby Howell
Baptiste.
Thank you. And that could have been a direction thing, but I just think it would have been more fun if she had been tattooed and a little more goth. Just in general, you can be any color and be a goth. And then, like you said, have that joy.
Death is every girl in the 80s and 90s that listened to Susie Sue and the Banshees and went through that phase. They all tried to look like Death.
Yeah.
That's the look.
Yeah.
Heck, Neil
maybe
Gaiman
he was
married Amanda Palmer who looks just like that. I mean, come on.
Maybe they were trying to bring it like up to date, but instead it just came out neutral, which wasn't as fun.
You don't
it just
fall
wasn't
in love
as
with the character.
fun.
You don't fall in love. Which I think was important. Now, one other thing before I get to you guys, there's something very interesting that Neil Gaiman puts in. Death does not know where you go when you die.
She doesn't care.
She's just taking you to the spot. She doesn't know where you go.
She's the boatman on sticks. Yeah.
It's not heaven or hell or reincarnation or anything. And I have respect for Neil Gaiman that he did that. He didn't give us an absolute.
Because that would make this concept of death into actually Hades,
Yeah, this would make it too much like she's bringing you to Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, which is
like
not
she's everybody's. She's not everybody's Virgil. Yeah. She's just taking you to the door and letting like she takes you to the side of the river.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except for the one guy she took away from the river.
Oh, wah. Ryan, your thoughts on Death real quick.
So I was fine with the presentation of her. Actually, like it's one of those things. Like humanity, we start in Africa, so I'm fine with Death being a black woman. I would have preferred her presentation to have like more of like an African accent.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to go that route. I do like the way she's portrayed in the book. The audiobook being Kat Denning is just
brilliant.
It's the best casting in there, and all the castings are really well done. Her voice just does something where everything she's saying is empathy, but it comes off with joy. So I think that's where it's like it misses out because her voice in the show, she doesn't have that joy behind it. She has that calmness and that it's the calmness that you'd expect. Like, it's like I think it's the way I would put it is like in the show, it's almost the way you'd want Death to be speaking to you. Where she's empathizing that, like, yeah, you don't want to be in this situation, but we got somewhere to go. So like I'm okay with it. I can look past something like that. That didn't really bother me. Like for me, that's my favorite episode of the show. She's so fantastic. Like I'm okay with it.
It just bothered me because I love this character so much, and I put so much thought into this character.
Yeah, they really change the characters, and I think one of the things that
we'll get
that
into a few
more
of those as we go. Yeah,
yeah. The one thing that leaves me okay with that is like Neil Gaiman was like actually involved with this. It was not just changing it for the sake of changing it. This is still Neil Gaiman's baby, and any of those changes are changes that he visualized for his own story.
Which is why I'm a lot more forgiving for the changes.
You have to be forgiving of that. It's not like just changing it for the sake of changing it because it's the 21st century. It was like, and this is where like we don't usually forgive George Lucas, but maybe on certain things it would be fine. It's still his story, and you have to let him tell it the way he wants to tell it in that moment.
Yeah. Todd, Death, go.
Funny enough, and none of you hit on this, Death is the most human of the Eternals.
Because she ends with everybody. She's never alone. That's why she's human.
Of course. She has more contact with human beings than any of them, and it has humanized her to an amazing effect. And remarking on something you just previously said, I would say that she is about 40% empathetic, 30% resolute, and then what's that leaves? 30%?
20.
Yeah, whatever percentage is left over is without unavoidable. You can argue all you want, and she's still going to take you where you need to be. Yeah. That's her job. But she's so hard to argue with because she's just so normal and human and logical.
Yeah.
So, besides the fact that the books portrayed her as looking like your 20-year-old neighbor who on a 1 to 10 scale of cuteness is about a 17. And they turned her into a late 20s something black woman. Oh, okay. I thought the actress that played Death in the TV show actually pulled it off pretty well. She has the right amount of humanity to her to play it, and the right sense of humor as well, because Death is almost always smiling, whether it's at an internal joke or something that's funny externally. She's a happy camper, and she loves her job.
Yeah, that smile, I think that's what I was missing, because I feel like we didn't get enough of that smile. The smile was more pained, like it's gonna be okay. Then, hi, we're going on an adventure.
But it's also a very knowing smile.
Yeah,
you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think to both of your points, Death is the most human, but the level of serenity that she had kind of made her a little above, and it separated her a little bit. Where I think that the more kind of, hey, how's it going? Okay, cool. Let's
hey, let's go.
Let's go. Let's do the thing. Come on, cha cha there. Is what would have been. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying she was bad.
No,
she was lovely. But I think it would have made her more. It would have made her even more human, because the serenity kept just a little bit more distance by staying by having a little more of that serenity versus in getting in the weeds.
So,
and the Gaiman made sure to make it very clear that, especially when dealing with death, there is no moral compass. Death is not good. Death is not evil. Death just is.
Right.
Pure neutral. I mean, that's a great representation in my personal view of what death should be.
Okay, let's move on. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night. The next one I want to hit is the twins. We're going to hit, there's Desire and Despair. We're going to hit Desire first. Now, my biggest problem with the character is not the actor's fault. It's not even the screen's fault. It's because when I read Sandman, I hear a male voice, a female voice stacked on each other, saying the exact same thing. You hear a high timbre and a low timbre all at the same time. They didn't give me that. How dare they not know what's going on in my head? But that was my biggest problem. I think I hope we get a second season because we need to see where this character can go. This is a fascinating, evil character. This is the bad guy that's not a bad guy at all. He's just selfish and he's all humanity.
Person at all?
Huh?
Can we at all? Because it's really not clear what gender Desire is, or if he or she is both or neither.
It's kind of a neither thing as far as when I always read the books.
Except for the fact that Desire happens to be the father of...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel. You did know that, right?
The little black girl?
No. Well,
in the show, yes.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Never mind. I'll go on that conversation later.
Sorry, grandfather. Anyway.
Okay, so Satomi, I know you have a personal connection with this character. Tell what do you think about Desire?
I actually really enjoyed the character. We didn't get to see very much of them during this season, which I really wanted to see a lot more. Desire to me has always been both male and female, and I think they portrayed that character exactly how it needed to be portrayed. It would have been lovely to hear a little bit more of the higher timbre of their own voice. Yeah. But that's a direction thing, but I thought they were stunningly beautiful. And what a wonderful face that Mason has. Yeah. Beautifully so, where they're just a thing of beauty, period.
Can I say this? That actor should have been Lucifer more than Lucifer is. Okay, we'll get to Lucifer later.
That's a good point.
I disagree, but anyhow.
We'll get back to that one.
Okay.
Skeeter?
Beauty, absolutely. Like, even down to the layer, I guess, the almost a art museum-esque type of place that they were in, and the way that they were introduced was phenomenal. Like, brother, I've got you. Like, wow, and Satomi, you said it perfect. We only got this much, when there's so much more depth to this character. You can tell.
Read the books.
What is their role? How are they going to affect brother? Because that's how they continued to, speak about him, which I thought was super cool, as the conversation was going on. And then, it wasn't confusing at all to me. I picked it up, I understood it, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. Desire. Like, what do you desire? Where are all of these things going from or coming from? What do you want the most? And that was kind of a perfect picture, in one person. So I loved it. Very cool.
Ryan?
You guys all pretty much hit the nail on the head with it. I think it was a perfect representation of the show, and just not enough of it.
Okay, so let's hit this next character. Phenomenal in the books, makes me physically angry on the series, and that is Despair. There's a reason for that. Despair is grotesque. She is without hope. She wakes up every day and does not want to live that day. That is Despair. What they gave us was a high school girl that's read too much Sylvia Plath and cuts herself and eats too much. But there is hope for this girl. I had a very big problem with how they displayed this grotesque being as just kind of a normal girl, greasy hair. There's hope for this girl. There's no hope for Despair. That was a horrific call in my
Just on a makeup angle, they could have done so much better to display her as without hope. And it's like somebody in the makeup and outfitting department just said, just put her out here. What the hell? Oh, sorry.
Another guitar.
We're gonna start keeping score.
Okay, Ryan, let's hear your thoughts. We took all yours last time.
Yeah, it was disappointing. It was just a letdown. Like despair should be someone with tattered clothes and mascara running, and like they just like put out like somebody with like overdone, caked on makeup.
Britney Spears when she's
and like whining on a couch, just sitting there complaining and just being a nuisance. Like it was just like, you're more like a whining teenager than you are despair.
Yeah.
Despair is not supposed to be ironic, but you just seen it.
Yeah, this was a huge mistake to me from the creators.
It's like if you ask somebody who's never gone through depression, what do you think despair actually looks like? And it's like, oh, just somebody who got the wrong coffee at Starbucks is now in despair. It's not even close.
Hey, I have a hard time with my order. They never get the color right.
Your half cat double decaf, green with blue.
And you should see the priest's face when I go in and ask for a black coffee.
We don't do that here. Yeah.
Tears of relief.
So Toby, what's your thoughts on despair? And you don't have to just pick on the TV show, but I think that
well, I mean, I'm on board with you guys, but what's so funny is I didn't like the character in this show, and I couldn't figure out why. And you guys just hit it on the head. It wasn't despair. It was almost the level of pet peeve. And there was, she had too much hope. There wasn't the hopelessness. You know, I actually, back to Inside Out, would have rather have had sadness in that role, and I think it would have been more appropriate because there's a tone, there's an oral tone to actual despair.
Yeah,
when you've truly given up, and she still had fight in her.
Yeah,
in the book, with the director. In the book, sorry.
Yeah, in the book you have the elemental woman. She has like way more despair than this lady has.
Yeah.
Oh
she literally does not want to exist.
Yeah,
and they didn't even like put her in the show. They skipped over that even happening.
Yeah, if we get second season, I don't think we're gonna see anything with her because they screwed up big time.
Mm-hmm.
Skeeter, any thoughts on this one before we move on?
I just, you guys hit it, every part of it. Just, they could have done it so much different, so much better. I mean, you know, it kind of takes me to Labyrinth. The whole show did. What about like the trash lady from Labyrinth? You know, think about that. You know, that would have been despair, like carrying your whole world on your shoulders.
When you read the books, you'll see a picture of despair, and you're like, "That's it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unmistakable. Okay, let's move on to the Constantines. Big issue. I'm not a big Jenna Coleman fan to begin with, but being that they put her as John Constantine in the present, why did they use her in the past as Joanna Constantine again? It was confusing. And use Matt Ryan. He's the best Constantine we've ever had. Let us have that. Shut up. There's no better. Because he's perfect for that role. He is that role to me. Anyway, sorry. And I know I think it had something to do with owning the rights or something. I don't know what was going on that. Because they owned the Joanna, but they didn't own John, apparently. One of those. It just didn't make me as angry as the despair, but because it's such an interesting character in the books, and I think Jenna isn't my favorite actress. I haven't liked just Doctor Who. Go ahead, Todd.
I don't understand why they gender changed it at all. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I got no problem with the acting
takes you
job
out of the story
that the female actor did as Joanna. I have no problem with her acting job on it. I do not understand why they gender switched. That's all I got. So
I think
the
gender switch is a non-issue for me, honestly. You know, John Constantine is an interesting character with a long history, and there's no reason that it could be male, female, gay, straight, you know, whatever. I do agree with you that casting her as her own ancestor, especially when we have characters like is it Hobgoblin or Hobgoblin? Hobgoblin. Say it again.
Gadling.
Thank you, Hobgadling. So when we have characters like that who are living 100 years, it can get very confusing. But other than that, I mean, it didn't bother me. I'm not like a massive Jenna Coleman fan, but I'm a Doctor Who fan, so therefore, you know, I have a fondness for her, and I thought she did a lovely job.
Yeah, you know? I just don't understand why they did it.
If they didn't have her, if they could have cut her older scene, it wouldn't have bothered me. But as I say, that's one of those, it takes you out. And
or have her as one or the other.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything to say on the Constantine thing before we move on?
I didn't understand it. It kind of caught me off guard that first episode, and then I was okay with it afterwards. Like once I got over the emotion of like, well, I like John Constantine a lot in the book, and I have him back. Yeah. After that, I was pretty okay with it. I did not like the ancestor thing. I hate when any show just portrays the same actor or actress as the ancestor. I think it's cheap and it's lazy.
Yeah,
it doesn't come off right.
I don't
especially when they had other individuals doing versions of ancestors in the show.
Well, it takes you away. It takes away from Mad Hattie, who does get to live forever.
Mm-hmm.
But, so is she living forever? Is this the thing?
Right? Is she timeless now too?
It's not fair. It's not fair to these other characters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on to, I think, a sick stroke of genius, the Corinthian. Scariest thing ever. That's like the ultimate skateboard design with the teeth for the eyes, and he brought something to this role that was not in the books. Fantastic, top to bottom. I have just a nightmare with its own ideas. And that, wow. I mean, what else can you say? Ryan, let's start with you on.
Yeah, so he ages like a fine wine throughout this show. You're just like, oh, he seems like the bad guy. He for the first couple episodes, he just seems like the bad guy who's at the right place at the wrong time to create bad things to happen. And then we get to the serial killer episode, and he takes that serial killer episode to a whole other level. It was so much better in the show and in the book, just in terms of the way it was presented. It felt very like a little disjointed listening to it and then trying to piece it all together. And he's just this evil that's tying it all together. And I love that character by the end of the show.
I love that he was not doing anything he wasn't supposed to do. That is what he's created to do. And I think that's amazing. Satomi, what's your thoughts on the Corinthian?
I loved him. I have some people who were like, I sort of pictured him with more of a British accent,
really?
You know, instead of the Southern. This is not me. This is other people.
Oh,
but everybody has a way that they hear characters in a book, and for me, he just made my skin crawl. Boyd Holbrook, he did a wonderful job. There was that really understated, he didn't have to do much and he was creep as F. And, when you finally see his eyes for the first time, run! Just fun. So fun. So fun.
What was that, Todd?
The first time you see his teeth in his eyes, it's like, holy, and yeah. Damn good call, Satomi. Boyd Holbrook. That boy's about as smooth as a gravy sandwich. He brought a level of slick to the Corinthian that was not in the books. In the books, he was just horrifying because of his amoral attitude towards killing. He just really enjoyed it. In this, he was purposeful, logical, linear. Yes, he liked killing, and he did it whenever. But he also had a methodology, and there was a whole method to his madness.
Yeah.
He was slick.
Now, Skeeter, I want to ask you this, since you didn't have any idea of the Corinthian before you watched the show, what was that first thing? What was that first?
I honestly was like, who the heck is this dude? Like, I was terrified of him, but I was like, okay, I'm ready for more. Like, what is happening? Because you see so many different things. His collection, and then when I first saw his mouth eyes, I was like, and I immediately went to Marco Polo, was like, help. Like, because I was like, what is this dude? Like,
WTF!
I was like, why? What? I don't want. But like, is he a brother? Is he something? And everybody's like, no, he's a nightmare. And I was like, yes, he is. Absolutely.
And so, well, who is he? He's a nightmare.
Right?
And
So,
but yeah.
but like the way, like even at the serial convention, the way he was just brought in as this like huge guy, everybody was a fan. Like, wait, how do all these people know the Corinthian? Like, and that's still like so many things, but that's why I love this character, because there were so many questions, and then he just got dusted.
Now let's hit that for a second, just I think because it goes with it, is the serial convention. How brilliant is that? Oh my gosh. How has no one stolen that in the 30 years since this book has been made? There's never been a hint of something like that, and that is beyond brilliant.
Yeah,
I was lost.
I think there hasn't been that convention here.
Dude,
we do live in
you
Vegas.
guys are in that place. Yes, you are. Absolutely. Like Old Strip convention too.
He probably guarded the damn thing.
I don't want to think about it.
But that's where I was like, wait a minute. This is a serial convention, dude. Like, are we in a dream right now? Because wait, no. Like, there's a convention of people that literally one person can skin a man in under a minute perfectly. The other one can debone him without even thinking about it. Like, is this a real thing? That was so awesome.
The panels with the religious killing. I don't like to use religion. Oh, I always use religion. Like, wow. No, that is just a level of brilliance that can't really be explained until you experience it. And this one, they got it right in the audiobook. It's right in the books themselves.
Loved it in the show so much.
It's just
there's the opening scene when Rose and Jed show up, and it's like panning like 2 stories high, just panning out, and there's a banner, and it drops like this twangy country music to it. I was like, oh, this feels like straight out of a horror movie. I love it. And it was just like, it set the tone so well.
With the ending to it, when they all realize they were evil.
It carries throughout. I loved the music for it. Like, there wasn't really the music for it in the audiobook. Like, yes, it's well put together with sound effects. They don't really hit it off with anything. And it's just like, in the show, it's just like a big takeoff event.
There's something about seeing a tag, a hello, my name is, or like I can't remember if it was lanyards or whatever, but just all those things that go with a convention, that it's something so mundane.
It was the sign-in table for me.
In that, I found it very reminiscent of the late 80s Stephen King's movies.
Yeah.
How they
get that small shot of the faraway shot of the town or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's move on. And this one is another thing they did right on the TV show. And that's Rose Walker. Now, you'll hear me say all the time, I want them to have the best person to play. Race swapped or not, this is the perfect person to play Rose Walker. She got the part. She was Rose Walker to me. Now, when I go back and I read the books, I'm going to see her face instead of who I'm seeing. It's just I'm trying to think of the words. Just openness and the bravery at the same time. The essence of her, Just, I thought she was really good. Now, I wish they would have given her a little bit more color on her tips of her hair. That's just a preference thing. That's just me. What do you guys think of how? However, and we're going to talk about it at the same time as her brother, who's a completely forgettable character in this show. He goes through some crap, and you completely forget about him within 2 minutes. I don't even remember his name at the moment. I feel bad.
Jed?
Young Rose
Bennett,
Jed Walker.
Yeah.
Right?
What's funny is I had the opposite experience.
Okay.
I mean, not particularly strongly, but Rose had to grow on me. She really had to grow on me when she first came out. I was like, and it had nothing to do with colorblind casting. It was just like, okay, I just wasn't quite buying her. I wasn't quite on board. And with her brother, as soon as I saw him in his dreams being a superhero, I was like, yeah, Jed.
That is so weird. Opposite reaction.
Isn't that funny?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I honestly, I've read the books. I know she's supposed to be a blonde white girl. It didn't really matter to me in this event because the young lady had on the show killed it. Flat out killed it. She had the strength of character to pull it off.
Yeah. And I think that her acceptance of being the Vortex was a really well done. Because the Vortex
also,
thing, that's
deep. Of her fate because she was the Vortex. Very well played.
Yeah.
Love the house.
Good acting choices.
I love where she moved to.
The boarding house?
The boarding house. Super cool. The person that played the drag queen, very close to mine and Dub's heart.
One of the characters in
Book of Love.
Book of Love.
And just an amazing one of the good ones. I loved. That's where we meet.
The sisters.
Todd, you said it earlier.
Fiddler's Green.
Oh, Green.
Yeah.
Fiddler's Green.
Yeah.
Fiddler's Green. I loved his character with her. Everything that went on, the travel together.
So fatherly. Yeah.
Yes. And she was strong. Like, she was a strong character. There were some parts where I got kind of lost, with the dream sequences with one of the other people there that was helping her. But I really enjoyed her character being just a strong, like, I'm going to find my brother and you're not going to stop me.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm going to do. And that was really cool about her.
Yeah. The fact that she was willing to stand nose to nose with Sandman and talk him down kind of impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I bought her when she played it. That's why I like this character so much.
Yeah.
I bought it.
Totally.
Like I said, by that point she had won me over. Yeah. But I was not on board at the beginning.
So you were just wrong. It's no big deal. It happens every now and again.
I'm never wrong.
I had to say it. Now, here's another one that they did completely different from the series, and that was Ethel Cripps. The books, I like that, the way that she's told. She's an old lady when she gets to see her son. This, she has, I don't like she has the Eye of Agamotto, and so she doesn't get old. And it's like, why are we doing this? There's no reason to tell that story. None. It didn't make any sense to me that they told that story that way. It's not that she's a super important character. I mean, she is, but I didn't see the point of changing her so that she's young and sexy, even though she's not. She's 120 or whatever. Yeah.
I think you hit something there. Yeah, I think you hit something there because there's so many other stories that could have been more fully developed.
Yeah.
And
I think it's because they wanted to introduce the Eye of Agamotto, but honestly, we didn't need it. I mean, in the books, it's a passing comment. We just I traded it. I traded a trinket. That's all it really was. And they're not going to give us this in the proper DC universe, so who cares? The Eye of Agamotto, important. It's cool with the Dr. Fate and all that, but we're not going to get Dr. Fate out of this. Who cares?
No, they didn't even touch on the DC tie-in in the whole series. So
they did a little bit with the TV in the nightmares, the little kids' nightmares or dreams.
Yeah, but I mean, it
wasn't. Yeah, they definitely didn't want
to specific.
I think it's because it went on Netflix instead of Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Because Warner Brothers owns all the DC stuff. That's just a guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Valid. So that we're not here for 4 hours, which
we're popping down, dude. Yeah, awesome. We're cutting down. Okay, so let's hit over. I think this is an important one. Lucifer. Lucifer is David Bowie and nothing else, and stop doing anything else. He can either be who is Tom Wellington or Ellington, whatever his name is, that played Lucifer, who is fantastic, or it can be David Bowie. We don't have David Bowie. I'm just saying, if you would have taken what's her name? I know she's the Brienne from Game of Thrones. They've made
Brienne.
Brienne. Yeah, she.
Elaine.
They've made her look.
Gwendolyn Christie. Yeah.
They've made her look a lot more neither male nor female. And the rosy cheeks and all that, it bothered me. I'm like, she's not a feminine actress. Stop. And you can use
her hair looked like it got caught in a cotton candy machine.
Yeah.
It looked ridiculous.
It was a weird choice.
So here's the thing. I'm 100% going to disagree with you on this.
Fire away.
Not that David Bowie would not have been fantastic. However, she was almost a perfect, because when I first saw her, I was like, and then as it continued, and especially as the wings came out, she's almost a perfect representation of classical paintings of Lucifer, of that, and the whole idea of Lucifer is the fallen angel, that angelic face, and with the curls, I mean, straight out of like Renaissance art.
Very thick, huh?
Say that again?
Very cherubic with the curly hair and the soft features.
It was the rosy cheeks, I think, that took me out.
Do you want to know what my takeaway was?
What?
I was looking at it and I was like, it looks like they were making her to look like Desire, and then forgot halfway through that they already had Desire, and then like stopped. She looked like a crappy version of Desire. Is the way it looked.
Which is funny because what I said earlier. Yeah,
guys, remember, in a strictly biblical point of view, angels have no gender. They are pure spirit. Have you ever seen a picture of a female angel?
Sometimes, yeah. Ish.
Modern.
Yeah, modern, but not classical. Yeah. Lucifer is supposed to be the first and most beautiful and smartest of the angels, who was cast out for having thoughts counter to God's wishes. Okay. I thought she was a perfect representation. She was bigger than Dream, that's for darn sure.
Oh yeah. Actually, that's actually a good point on that, because she needed to be big.
in all understanding of classical
It was
literature,
just the hair.
Lucifer can be as large or small as Lucifer wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 15 feet tall, could be 2 feet tall. It's all a matter of Lucifer. Speaking of him or her as a he or she is ridiculous because it does not exist. Thank you.
I'm just gonna, for our listeners, I'm popping up some classical representations of Lucifer, just to give this idea of just how androgynous, very, very soft features, very, flowy hair. The curls, I'm trying to find the paintings with the curls, but those
it's kind of a
do
Michelangelo-y
exist.
feel. I understand what
Yeah, they do exist.
I get your
and
point.
Pretty.
There's a look, just because because I've read the books for so many years. There's a look that I wanted that I didn't get.
Can I so books, audio style? We had Beelzebub, Azazel, and Lucifer in the same room at the same time.
Yeah.
When Dream shows up.
Yeah.
For the fight. The fight is freaking phenomenal. I loved it. I loved that Hope was the winning deciding factor, but I will say I would have loved to see Tom Ellis. I love Lucifer Morningstar. I love the show. Freaking phenomenal. But I want to see Tim Curry, legend, freaking super demon.
I get that, but that is not part of the mythology. You don't have that because it's always very humanoid.
Oh yeah, no, that's what we got. But I mean, it was very all of the cinematography, all of the work done right there, all of the digital work, beautiful, very well played.
I thought
and they made her perfect.
Great cast as it.
So okay, this is gonna split the panel. Okay, let's jump over. We got 2 more that I really want to hit. Lucien, or is in the TV show Lucienne. Now again, don't care about the gender swap, don't care about the race swap. I have a problem with the look that she gives constantly. Whenever she's finished talking and she's waiting for a response. In high school, you got that one talented actor that when they're doing improv, they'll stop and they'll give that look while they let the action happen. That look bothered me so much. It's
I think Satomi knows exactly what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, I was going to say that I love her.
Really?
Yes, Viviana.
It was that look took me out so much, and she did it.
I love that look because the look to me was more like mom look.
Exasperation.
Yeah. It was like, really? That's what you're going to wear to work? That's what you're going to wear to school? Okay, go ahead. So for me, I heard this I heard her little voice in her head that was like, you are such an idiot, but you're my boss, so go ahead. But maybe that's because
tone.
Well,
yes,
Lucy,
or maybe it's because I'm female and I know how it is to have to hold your tongue.
Lucien.
What?
Lucien is. I mean, the way the character is based in the books is very much the butler from Batman. I mean, he's
Alfred.
He's Alfred. I mean, that's who. You look at the character.
Absolutely.
So I have no issue with them taking liberties because it's a boring character. He doesn't really do anything. But I'd say that for me, that look bothered me. It was just it's because I saw it in high school a lot with a couple of people that used to do that, and they overused it to the point that I don't like that look at all.
You have PTSD with that look.
I guess. Anybody have any more
Maybe
thoughts
because
on this?
you thought they were thinking those things about you.
It works. I'm perfect.
Yes, you are, Deb. Yes, you are. You're welcome.
I thought that their take on Lucien was unfair to the character. The actress, I thought, did a fine job with what they gave her to represent. But I've always, even in the book, found Lucien to be kind of a butt. Just my take.
Well, if you go back to like a biblical principle, I think that Lucian would be the prodigal son, the one that came back and then the one that stayed. And the one that stayed got all upset because, they lavished all the riches. So that's Lucian stayed. And she's
Morpheus.
Yeah, and he's mad that, I don't get anything special out of that. I can see that as being, yes, Neil Gaiman will put a lot of biblical references in.
Lucian has been around for a long, long time. He was the original Raven companion of Morpheus, the first. So he's been around a long time. I can understand the exasperation, but I still, he's kind of an ass because of his attitude.
Yeah.
Or her now, I guess. Whatever.
Okay, let's hit the Ravens and then we're done. Even though I'm sick of seeing Patton Oswalt and everything, he did a great job as Matthew.
Yes.
I'm so done with him. But oh my gosh, you played that so well. I'm like,
I didn't like him. I didn't. I like Patton Oswalt. I like Patton Oswalt, and I felt like the voice acting was.
Just slap me. Just get it over.
Was for me, it was like it was overacted, and I know when you're voice acting, you've got to put more into it because you're not getting the face, especially when you're talking about like a bird. There's only so much that this bird can give you, but there were parts that just did not ring honest to me and felt really presentational and felt more like, hey, we're gonna do the comedy, comedy stylings right here. And it was like that Raven, it's almost like his Jiminy Cricket, and he has so much that he can bring to that. And I was really disappointed. And I like Patton Oswalt. I did not enjoy his voice performance in this.
What I think that I like that performance, now that I'm thinking about it, is because it made the Ravens, the TV series made the Ravens make so much more sense than the books. It made them so much more important right off the get-go. And I think that's an important thing.
But that's the writing, and that's not the performance.
Hey, Dub, how was the CGI?
It was better than She-Hulk. That's not saying much because it's bad. But that's not this episode. That's not this show. Ryan, what'd you think of the Raven real quick? I know you have some thoughts on that real quick.
So I liked Patton Oswalt as that. I'm actually finding that I prefer Patton Oswalt as a voice actor.
So you're wrong. 2-on-1. Right?
No, I really enjoyed Matthew the Raven. He's just a nice little character to me.
Yeah. Okay, we can't get to any more because we're already over an hour, guys. Now, if we missed any of your favorites, talk to us on wherever you listen to us. Talk to us. We'll talk back about whatever character you want to talk about. As I say, we all have a passion and a love for the Sandman series. Go to our Facebook. Go to our website, www.iheartgeekshow.com. Use the code, we pay extra for it. Go to the Instagram and all the other fun stuff. Talk to us. We do talk back constantly. That's what we do. Until next time, I'm Dub. I'm here with Todd. We're here with Ryan. We're here with Skeeter. We're here with Satomi. Sorry for having to cut this so short. Love y'all. Keep on geeking on, guys. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.